Sparta, a name synonymous with courage and discipline, produced warriors who were the embodiment of strength. Among them, a Spartan warrior and a strategist called Brasidas stands apart, not just for his prowess on the battlefield, but for his ability to inspire, persuade, and outthink his enemies. Today we explore the life of this Spartan hero, his humble beginnings, strategic brilliance, and the legacy of his ultimate sacrifice. Brasidas was one of the most famous Spartan generals during the Peloponnesian War. This war that shaped ancient Greece was fought between Athens and Sparta from 431 to 404 BC. It was one of the most consequential conflicts in ancient Greek history. Sparta, known for its unmatched infantry, faced off against Athens' superior naval power and strategic cunning. It was during this turbulent era that Brasidas rose to prominence, defying the rigid mold of Spartan warriors to become a general admired by friend and foe alike. Brasidas, born around 422 BC, he entered the Spartan agoge, a system designed to forge warriors from childhood. Here the Spartan boys were stripped of comfort and trained in the art of war. Wrestling, combat drills, and even survival skills in the wild were staples of their education. Brasidas quickly stood out, not for his brute force alone, but for his tactical mind. He understood that true strength lay not just in overpowering an opponent, but in anticipating their every move. The agoge wasn't merely physical training, it was a way to instill absolute loyalty to the state. Boys were encouraged to steal food to survive, but if caught, they were punished, not for stealing, but for being careless enough to get caught. These brutal lessons forged Brasidas into a man who valued cunning as much as courage, a trait that would later distinguish him as one of Sparta's most versatile leaders. Spartan life was simple yet rigid. Men like Brasidas dedicated their days to training and serving the state, while other Greek city-states valued art and philosophy. Sparta focused only on discipline and warfare. Yet Brasidas was not a typical Spartan. Beyond his physical training, he cultivated skills in rhetoric and strategy. This combination of strength and intellect would set him apart in the years to come. In ancient Sparta, every aspect of life revolved around preparing for war. Even the women were trained to be physically strong to bear healthy sons. Meanwhile, the Spartan economy was supported by the helots, the people enslaved by Spartans to farm the land. Brasidas grew up in this unique society, but unlike many of his peers, he recognized the importance of leveraging diplomacy and alliances, lessons he would later put to masterful use. His first experience in war came during the early years of the Peloponnesian War, where Sparta and Athens clashed for dominance over Greece. Unlike some of his peers, Brasidas displayed not only bravery but also a remarkable ability to read the battlefield. He led his men with precision, ensuring victories even when the odds were against them. His superiors took notice, and soon Brasidas was entrusted with more significant responsibilities. The Peloponnesian War was not just a clash of armies, but a clash of ideologies. While Athens championed democracy and naval supremacy, Sparta upheld an oligarchic system and the dominance of its hoplite warriors. Brasidas' ability to adapt to these complex dynamics early in his career marked him as a rising star in Sparta's military hierarchy. In addition to his battlefield exploits, Brasidas excelled as a diplomat. During the war, he convinced several neutral cities to align with Sparta, often without shedding a drop of blood. His reputation for fairness and integrity preceded him, allowing him to win hearts as easily as he won battles. This skill was rare among Spartans, who were often viewed as harsh and uncompromising. For Brasidas, diplomacy was just another form of combat, one fought with words instead of weapons. One of Brasidas' most famous diplomatic victories was in Toron, a strategically located city under Athenian control. Using a mix of negotiation and swift military action, he convinced the inhabitants to betray their Athenian garrison. This ability to combine persuasion with calculated aggression solidified his reputation as a leader capable of achieving victory by any means necessary. Brasidas' finest hour came at the capture of the city of Amphipolis. In 424 BC, Amphipolis was a city critical to Athenian supply lines. Facing a larger enemy force, Brasidas used deception and speed to outmaneuver the Athenians. His troops launched a sudden and coordinated assault, overwhelming the defenders before they could react. The city fell quickly, dealing a devastating blow to Athenians and earning Brasidas everlasting fame among his people. The Athenians, led by the renowned general Cleon, were unprepared for Brasidas' audacious tactics. Brasidas avoided the traditional hoplite clash, instead of using the rapid flanking maneuvers to disorient the enemy. The victory at Amphipolis not only secured a vital strategic position for Sparta, but also demonstrated that Spartan generals could adapt to new forms of warfare, breaking their stereotype of relying solely on brute force. What made Brasidas truly remarkable was his tactical brilliance. Unlike many Spartan commanders who relied on brute force, Brasidas valued strategy and preparation. He studied his enemies carefully, identifying their weakness and exploiting them to maximum effect. It was this combination of courage and intellect that made him one of Sparta's most effective leaders. Brasidas' strategies often involved leveraging terrain and physiological warfare. For example, he preferred to use narrow passes in order to nullify the numerical superiority of his enemies and employed feints to lure them into traps. These tactics were inspired by his understanding of Athenian methods, which he adapted to create his own unique approach to warfare. Such innovative thinking earned him the admiration of his allies and even the respect of his adversaries. Brasidas' final battle came during the defense of Amphipolis, as it was already captured by Spartans. He was wounded early in the fight, but he refused to retreat, leading his men with the same determination that he had defined his life. Under his command, the Spartans repelled the Athenian assault, securing a critical victory even as Brasidas fell to his injuries. The Athenian, led by the renowned general Cleon, marched on Amphipolis with a force far larger than Brasidas' Spartan contingent, but Cleon underestimated the resolve and strategic genius of Brasidas, believing that the city would fall swiftly. But Brasidas had prepared an ambush, placing his troops in hidden positions to outflank the Athenians. At the crucial moment, he struck with overwhelming precision, catching Cleon and his forces completely off guard. Brasidas devised a two-pronged strategy that combined deception and rapid execution. First, he allowed Cleon's forces to advance toward the city walls and challenge, creating a false sense of security. Meanwhile, he stationed a small force inside the city to make a defensive show at the gates, luring the Athenians into believing they were on the verge of victory. Simultaneously, he concealed his main force in the surrounding hills and forests, ensuring they remained hidden until the Athenians were fully committed to the assault. Once Cleon's army was stretched thin and overexposed, Brasidas launched a surprise counterattack. His troops surged from both the city and the hidden flanks, cutting off the Athenians' retreat and encircling them in devastating pincer movement. The speed and precision of his plan left the Athenians with no time to reorganize, resulting in a complete rout. The defense of Amphipolis was pivotal not just for the city, but for the course of the Peloponnesian War. By holding the city, Brasidas severed a key supply line for Athens and dealt a severe blow to their morale. Though he perished in the battle, his leadership ensured a decisive Spartan victory, solidifying his place as one of the greatest generals of his time. Brasidas was giving a hero's funeral, an honor reserved for the greatest of Spartans. In Amphipolis, he was celebrated as a liberator, while in Sparta he was remembered as a warrior who embodied their highest ideals. His death marked the end of an era, but his legacy continued to inspire those who followed. The people of Amphipolis revered Brasidas to such an extent that they treated him as their founder, celebrating his deeds in annual ceremonies. In Sparta, his name became synonymous with loyalty and sacrifice. His funeral was not merely a ceremony, it was a moment that united two different societies in mourning and respect for a single individual who bridged their worlds. In Amphipolis, Brasidas was so admired by the people, who erected a monument in his honor. For them, he was not just a Spartan general, but a symbol of freedom and resilience. His memory lived on, inspiring future generations to strive for greatness. The people of Amphipolis replaced their allegiance to Athens with an enduring admiration for Brasidas, crediting him with their liberation. The monument, adorned with carvings of his heroic deeds, became a pilgrimage site for those who admired his leadership. Historians consider this one of the rare instances where a foreign general was so deeply cherished by those he conquered. Brasidas' legacy extends far beyond ancient history, even inspiring modern storytelling. In Ubisoft's acclaimed game Assassin's Creed Odyssey, Brasidas is portrayed as a key ally to the protagonist, either Cassandra or Alexios, as it's chosen to be played by the players. True to his historical roots, the game highlights Brasidas' integrity, strategic mind, and loyalty to Sparta. He became a friend figure, showcasing his diplomatic and military skills in a fictionalized retelling of the Peloponnesian War. The developers of Assassin's Creed Odyssey sought to capture Brasidas' complexity, blending historical records with creative storytelling. His character in the game resonates with players as a loyal and an honorable Spartan, who stands out even amidst the larger-than-life characters of Greek mythology. Brasidas was more than a warrior, he was a leader, a diplomat, and a legend. His influence extended beyond his death, shaping Spartan strategy in the later stages of the war. He demonstrated that flexibility and diplomacy were as important as military might, paving the way for other Spartan leaders to adopt similar approaches. While Athens is often celebrated for its intellectuals, Brasidas proved that even Sparta could produce a hero of wit and wisdom. And so the story of the Spartan warrior Brasidas ends. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like and subscribe for more legends, folklore, and histories that shaped cultures across time. Until next time, keep wondering.